Hello and welcome to Negative Feedback. Today we're going to be doing an episode on scanning film and how we get our photos from film to our computer. But for us to be able to do that, first of all we're going to take some pictures, so we have some examples to show you. So we're going to be putting 2 rolls of film through my new camera, Contax G2, and we're going to be using Fuji C200, which is a cheap colour film. And we're going to take 1 roll to a high street store, and we're going to take another roll to Bayer, which is a pro lab. Then I'll scan some at home as the third option. The day after we filmed, I went and dropped off the 2 rolls of film, 1 to Bayer, which is a professional lab, and 1 to Snappy Snaps down the road. Snappy Snaps charged me £10, and it took them 3 hours for the whole process, and I received it back on a CD. And Bayer charged £16 per roll, which includes a 30% discount, which they offer to people from Negative Feedback. And their service is usually around a 24-hour service, or if you drop it off early on in the day, you'll get it back the same day. And as a bonus, which is quite a big bonus for me, they'll transfer you the files instead of using a CD, and considering I don't have a CD drive in any of my machines, it's quite a big bonus. And obviously you don't have to go and pick up your CD, you just get sent it when it's done. Now as a start, the files from Bayer were quite a bit bigger in just dimensions. They're around 3000 by 2000 pixels, which is about 10 inches on the longest side, and they are about 7 megabytes per file as a JPEG. And to me, they look sharp, and the colours are good, and it's accurate. It's pretty much just what I wanted. The Snappy Snaps files came in at just under 2000 pixels on the longest edge, which is pretty much a 6x4 inch print. Guess it's okay for online use, but it is quite inferior to the Bayer scans. And the files were 1.5 megabytes per scan. For me personally, I see quite a lot of difference between the two. I thought that the Snappy Snap scans had a bit of a weird colour to them. They weren't as accurate. The skin tones looked a bit sickly, which isn't great. There was the occasional one that looked okay, but on a whole, I definitely prefer the colours of the Bayer scans. And I have to say that the sharpness and detail, there definitely is a bit more than on the Snappy Snaps. And also, on a side note, I've definitely taken in rolls to the kind of high street stores, which are even worse than the Snappy Snaps was. This was quite a good case. I remember going to Asda a few years ago, and to Boots, and it being even worse than this. To spice things up as another alternate option, I thought we'd look at some home scanning techniques. My friend Tim, who lives in Australia, is now going to take over for a second and show us how he scans on his Epson V550.
Hi, so I scan all of my film at home on my Epson V550, and because of that I save a hell of a lot of money because I don't need to pay for any of my scans to be done professionally. Because I shoot medium format, it's not much of an issue, but with 35mm, the quality does drop quite a bit doing it yourself with a lower-end scanner. But I'm going to show you how I do it, so hopefully you guys get some good results as well. So this is the holder that you put straight into the scanner once you've loaded it with film. I'll put some colour and black and white film, and I'm going to go and scan this. So I use Epson Scan to scan with, which is the default software for the Epson flatbed scanners. For resolution, I find 2400 dpi is the biggest that you're ever going to need. Anything higher than that, you're not really getting any extra detail with this scanner.
So you could pick up this scanner for £170 new, which is a pretty good price, and then once you've actually made that initial investment, which is a bit more, you can then scan as many rolls as you want, so I guess it pays off in the long run. However, for me, it's quite skillful, and it requires quite a lot of time to get actually good scans on the Epson. And it's definitely much better at scanning medium format than it is scanning 35mm film. I just can't seem to get detailed files when I do it myself. And it's much easier to scan the black and white film. The colour is quite often tricky to get accurate colours from. You get around the same size file as you would get from Bayer with a normal 35mm scan, but it's definitely less detailed, but the actual pixel dimensions are around about the same. And then for some fun on top of this, Bayer took me on a tour of the rest of their scanning facilities to show me how everything worked, and to teach me about the benefits of why they use certain things. The first machine that we took a look at was the Ccd Scanner. This is the scanner that goes through the whole rolls when they get dropped off for the Devon scan. It's just the normal thing that they use. You can do a whole roll at once and it's incredibly fast. There's not much room for customizing your scans on the machine, but for most people it does a really great job at guessing the contrast and the colours, and I was amazed at how fast it can actually do a whole roll of film. The machine can actually also scan individual files, which takes a bit longer, so you can't do a whole roll at once, but I was actually really impressed at how much quality you can get out of it. To look at how high resolution this could be, we scanned a 6x7 negative. Came out as quite a large, contrasty, vivid image, and you could play around with it a bit, but it's already chosen the kind of look of your photo. You could easily print up to 22" on the long side, and it's over 100 megabytes as a TIFF file, which is pretty huge. In pixels, that would be like nearly 7,000 on the long edge. So it's probably similar, if not slightly bigger than quite a lot of DSLRs would give out. After looking at this machine, I then went to look at the big boy of the scanning world, the drum scanner. Now this isn't really an economical way to scan your film, but it is nice to know that it is out there if you ever want to make something special. For this to work, your negatives get mounted onto a cylindrical drum by using some oil, and then it gets placed inside the machine to make a really accurate scan of the negative. It retains all of the information in the negative, so you get absolutely everything that's in it. You get all the highlights and all the shadows, which you lose out quite a lot on some of the other methods. And this results in a really, really flat scan, so you have to do a bit of editing to your file afterwards, but I think this is really good because then you can choose exactly how you want it to look, and it's kind of like grading a video. The file we got looked a bit too flat when it came out, but we managed to solve this with a simple curves adjustment. We scanned the same negative as we did on the Ccd scanner, and this came out as a 1.6GB TIFF, which is absolutely huge. That's about 12,000 pixels on the long edge, so you could probably easily print 40 inches on this. You can see a huge benefit in using this, and it's great to know it's there, but it's really not something that you're going to be able to afford to do on every image that you take. But a lot of people think that film can't be that high resolution, so it's nice to know that you have the potential of your images being able to be blown up this large. We also then stuck a 35mm negative on the drum scanner to see what that's like, considering the actual size of the negative is considerably smaller. And I was really impressed at how this actually came out. I've never seen something so detailed from 35mm. And this came out at 9,400 pixels on the long edge, which is huge. As a rounded ending, I definitely think that there is benefits to using a Pro Lab, but if you don't have the money, but if money is tight, I can definitely see why home scanning is a great thing. But I guess the purpose of the video is to show you all of the options and for you to be able to make your own choice, not just follow my own. And as a quick disclaimer, Bayer did not pay me to make this. I just genuinely really liked their service and I thought it was really interesting. So thank you for watching this. Hopefully see you next week.